Is in the middle of a political crisis. People have taken the streets since the last 5 months, and with the new law in place, the matter could get worse now. The pro-monarchy government has revived a law banning criticism against the royal family. Prayut Chan-o-cha is justifying its move by saying that it's for quelling the anti-government protests. 7 activists have been summoned to face charges under the law, which carries a sentence of up to 15 years in prison for each count. It is the first time in over 2 years that such charges have been filed. The arrest came a day before an anti-monarchy demonstration was planned. The protesters were scheduled to march to the royal's office to demand that the king give up personal control of the assets. Now, the venue was changed after about 6,000 officials were deployed at the scene, and protesters said that they would now meet at the headquarters of the Siam Commercial Bank, in which the king owns a stake of more than 23%. Just last week, more than 50 people were hurt when police used water cannon and tear gas against thousands of protesters at the parliament. Now, this was one of the most violent days of more than 5 months of demonstrations. Now, back in July, youth and student-led protests began in Thailand. Since then, the demonstrators have had majorly 3 demands. One, the resignation of Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha, who is a former army ruler, a new constitution, and a reformal change to the monarchy to sort curbs on its powers. Protesters are also challenging the king's decision to declare crown wealth as his personal property, which has made him by far the wealthiest person in Thailand. Prime Minister Prayut has rejected protesters' calls to resign and has said that all laws would be used against protesters who break them. The scrutiny and public criticism of the monarchy displayed in the past few weeks in Thailand is unprecedented, and the country's royal institution has been considered to be the epitome of power. Now, for more on this, we are being joined by Phil Robertson, a Deputy Director at the Asia Division of Human Rights Watch. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, what are the charges that will be faced by the leaders who have been summoned? Phil, what I was asking you was, what are the charges that will be faced by the leaders who have been summoned?
Well, okay, I mean, it's probably going to, well, we don't know yet. I mean, we have indications that they may use Article 112 of the Les Majeste law, but we're not sure yet. If they do that, then that's certainly an escalation in the situation.
All right. Now, in line with that, why is the Les Majeste law the most feared law in Thailand, and what does its reintroduction mean for the pro-democracy protesters now?
The Les Majeste law is a law that has been on the books for many years. It clearly does not comply with international human rights standards on freedom of expression, and it certainly is out of line with the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, which has been ratified by Thailand. This law is one which sets out that you cannot impugn or say bad things about the king, the queen, and the heir apparent. And it sets out that you can have as much as 15 years in prison for violations of that law. What we have seen recently over the past 3 years is that it has not been used. It has not been used in part because the palace requested that it not be used. And if this is changing now, then that is a very significant and worrying development.
All right, Phil, thank you so much for joining us with all those details.